Hi everyone, this is Niladri. Welcome to the first session of Project Management Professional or PMP training. Now, this session is a series of 30 training sessions covering the entire PMP curriculum and taking a deep dive on the key project management knowledge areas. The intention of the training is that we raise the bar of knowledge of project management, and also we ensure that we are second to none when it comes to the PMP core knowledge areas. So in this 30 sessions, apart from going through the complete PMP curriculum, I'm also going to do a couple of sessions, showing you how to fill up the application form for the exam, and also we'll do a couple of hands-on on how to fill up the application process, which is a bit tricky. And finally, we'll do some mock test as well, or mock like question answers in between, like in the middle one and maybe at the end one, to ensure that we are all fluent with the knowledge area concepts. So the question might arise in your mind is that, why we are doing this course, because we already are project managers, we already are program managers. So again, why we do need to do a project management course. Now, the point is, PMP is the de facto global standard, certification or the benchmark for project management knowledge. And for people, especially for the folks who are non-PMP and who have not gone through a structured training, I know that you guys doing an excellent job when it comes to project management or program management. However, there are certain key areas where you might not be exposed to. So let's say that in the networking world, you are a network engineer in an enterprise org for quite some time, and you are very good in OSPF and BGP, because those two were the routing protocols running in your org, right? And you may not be exposed to the other benchmark routing protocols, like let's say EIGRP, or let's say even RIV version 2. So if you are not knowing EIGRP well, and that's not your fault because you are not exposed to that, and you are only knowing OSPF, which is a link state protocol, and you might be knowing all the elements of OSPF, right? The neighborship, the hello packets, the debug, and everything. But still, will you be considered as a well-rounded network engineer? I'll say no, because I mean, till the time you're knowing all the benchmarking networking protocols in the tips of your finger, we will not consider that person as a well-rounded network engineer, right? So similarly, in the project management knowledge area, you might be having like going through your projects and your programs very well, right? You might be doing all the work with your best intention, like delivering and going through all the milestones and mitigating all the risk and cracking through all the way, which is all great and excellent. But the point is, you might not be exposed to the project management regimen, or the kind of the things which a very alpha project manager does, and those things are like have absolute concrete knowledge on scope, time, cost, how to create a schedule, how to create cost, how to create budget, then how to go about the different like constraints over the quality, how to ensure that your stakeholders are well managed, how to go about risk management, procurement, and so on and so forth, right? And these areas are very, very well explained in the PMP. And that's the main intention, that we all go through these areas, and we all are having the same kind of the high bar in the project management. All right, so let's dive in. Now, our first lesson, we are going to talk about the basics first, like what exactly is PMP and why it is and why PMP and so on. And then we are going to go to the famous PMP website, which is pmi.org. It's a fantastic site. And instead of showing you some screenshots on PowerPoint, I thought about let's do a live demo on the website itself to check out the eligibility for the exam application process, and the course structure. Again, these are like at high level. We are going to spend at least one session each on the exam application process and the course structure. But this is just kind of a high level view to you that what's going to come ahead. And finally, some next steps for you. So each session, once we finish, I'm going to give you some next steps, which are for you, for which you have to follow them and come prepared for the next session, right? Okay, so basic things, PMP, what and why. So I've got a couple of slides here, not much. I will not like bore you much, right? So the basics is that the Project Management Institute, or the PMI, it's basically a non-profit org, which is based out in US and was founded in the year 1969. Now, this particular PMI is a body or can be thought of as a framework where we have got all the established PMs and program managers, let's say ex VPs, ex CEOs, they all are a part of this body of knowledge framework. And the entire intention of forming the PMI was that to ensure a global standard and a benchmark to be established for project management certification or project management process, right? So we are all in the same boat. Now, a similar kind of a body also exists in Europe, which is called Prince. And I have been mentoring both Prince certification and PMP for quite some time. I will say you very honestly that the course content, the depth and the knowledge areas which are covered in PMP are second to none. Okay. Again, with all due respect to the Prince, it is also great, but if you want to really, really do a comparison, then I will always choose PMP. Now, PMP was launched in 1984. So PMI is a body, right? And inside that, we have got multiple certification or multiple body of knowledge. So 1984, PMP came up, and PMP is called the flagship certification of PMI, and it's considered as a de facto PM cert, like PM cert worldwide. So people who are completing their PMP certification, they are considered as experienced and established, PMs with good amount of PM knowledge, and also a kind of expert in their field. The other certifications of PMI are the program management and the agile. Again, they have got multiple, like they have got risk management, they have got schedule professionals, and they have got agile and so on and so forth. The good news is that now in the new PMP, what I've seen, a new PMP in the sense that I passed my PMP in the year 2014, right? So now in the last few years, I'm seeing that PMP has got agile sprinkled on it, which means that all the core concepts of agile, again, not all the 12 processes of agile, like all the entire methods of agile, but just one of them. Let's say the agile method like Scrum, Kanban, Sprint, they are all a part of PMP now. So during my days in 2014, I completed PMP, and then again in 16, I completed my Agile as well, just to have a well-rounded knowledge in both the domains, because PMP was keenly focused on the waterfall method of project management. So waterfall means the scope is fixed, the time is fixed, and the cost is fixed. Okay, and Agile means nothing is fixed. Okay, so Agile is basically used by let's say startups for their apps and so on, and again for many software teams for their sprint way of doing the project. And waterfall is specifically used by the projects which are having a fixed scope, cost, and time. Okay, so those days PMP was completely waterfall, and people who wanted to learn agile, they had to do a separate certification. It was called ACP. It still now exists, but if you just want to do PMP and a little bit of agile flavor, then PMP is enough these days. But if you really want to deep dive into agile, then you have to go for ACP. All right. So that's kind of about the background story of PMI and PMP. You can learn a lot more if you go to their website, or if you go to Wikipedia, you will find the entire story of PMI there. So why PMP? The interesting question. So PMP, like I said in the beginning, okay, it gives you a structured way of knowledge gain. Now, the first thing first, okay, whenever you go for a certification, there are two kinds of people who will always talk with you, okay, who will always give their opinions to you. The first set of people will say that, we don't care about certifications. We don't care about any pay, like any, what do you call the paper cert guys. We care about the people who are delivering on the job or learning on the job and deep diving on the job and all that. That's excellent, okay? But probably these guys are non-certified, and they probably have not understood the power of certification. Okay. The other set of folks will always tell you we are completely blind by certifications. Like we see a certification on a resume and we are like, done. Again, these are also not so correct, guys, because certification has got its pros and cons. First of all, let's talk about the cons, and then we will talk about the pros. So cons about a certification is kind of well known to all of us. There is something called brain dumps, and you might be knowing what is brain dumps are. Brain dumps are nothing but there are few people who go to exam hall to sit for a certification paper, and their only intention is to go through the question again and again. So let's say the entire question they flip through once, twice, thrice, four times, and they kind of memorize the questions. They come out of the exam hall, they go online and they post the questions. That is ridiculous, right? I mean, that causes a lot of harm, because people who are going to follow those brain dumps, they are going to cheat themselves. I mean, first of all, it's unethical and illegal, but second point is that it's kind of cheating yourself, because end of the day you might be getting a certification, but that will be just a piece of paper with no value on it, right? So I will talk about the good news of PMP right now here, prior to I talk about why PMP. So PMP, one of the very good news I will say is that no brain dump exists for PMP. I mean, if you go online and if you search for PMP dumps, you will find there are 10,000 plus companies who are claiming that we have got the accurate PMP brain dumps, like download them for such and such an amount of money and you will pass the exam in first shot. Trust me, none of them will work for you. And that has been tried and tested by many people. Okay, and that is why, if you have noticed on the previous slide, quickly we'll go back, there are only 7,73,840 active PMP holders around the globe. That is from 1984, right? That's a very small number. And the reason is that PMP exam cannot be cheated. Okay. PMP itself has got a huge question bank of 5 lakh plus, and they keep on updating their question bank. And whosoever has gone to these sites, they have been cheated, because these sites will just give you some false questions, which is a great news, which means that anybody who is a PMP certified, if he or she comes and tells me I'm a PMP, I immediately have got that value in my mind that this person will be having solid, PM knowledge, and that's true always. Okay. Now, comparatively, if I talk about other certifications, I can pick up any one of them. Let's say CCNA, or let's talk about, let's say, AWS, or any one of them. Okay, you will be finding dumps out there. I will strongly suggest to this team who is listening to this particular presentation, do not ever fall into the trap of any dump ever. It may allow you to pass the exam in first shot and save you some time, maybe, but that will end up in no value, because your knowledge will not be there as per the exam. So you will definitely fail in the real life. So coming to my exam in PMP in 2014, I passed it after my second attempt. My first attempt was in October 2013, and I had to spend again like 6 7 months to give it in March 2014, and I passed it. And I'm always thankful for the second attempt, because I was like, I forcefully had to do a lot of deep dives, and I had to study a lot more, material to ensure that I'm really solid, because this exam is just not another exam. It's a real tough exam. It will test your knowledge to the neck, and you really have to be an expert in the subject area, because none of the questions will be coming as a straightforward black and white. They all will be use cases, and you have to read them and find out the solution in very short span of time. So we'll come to that in detail. But what I'm trying to say, never be ashamed to sit for an exam twice or thrice if that is a demand. Okay. Probably because we all are in a very demanding job, and we have got a personal life. We may not be getting all the time in the world to open all the books and study and be the master prior to we sit for the exam. But that's fine. There is one more attempt to be given. There is one more to be given, till the time you can crack it, until the time you can reach that knowledge level. Otherwise, do not try to take any shortcuts. Okay, coming back, why PMP? Unbiased proof of a person's project management talent and expertise. No doubt about it. Okay, when you pass a PMP, because we do not have brain dumps, and because PMP itself says that we need certain amount of work experience, we need certain amount of training to be done, we need certain amount of XYZ to be done before they even accept your application. Okay, it's not just you give some money and sit for the exam, right? You have to really write a very detailed application, and after that PMI will take like 7 working days to audit that, and then they will get back and say your application is reviewed and accepted. Then they are going to send you a link, and you can click on the link and pay for the exam, right? So once all that like committed action has been taken by you, then definitely at the end of the day when you pass it, it's a kind of a unbiased proof that you are kind of having a very high level of knowledge in the project management world, accepted globally, which is a great thing. Like I said, we have got a prince which is accepted for the European companies mainly, and PMI is mainly for the US based companies. But I will say I have worked in both the kind of companies. I will still say that PMP has got an edge over any other PM certification. I mean, you can name any certification on PM, but if you're having a PMP, that's kind of a litmus test, and that's kind of a stamp on your resume that yes, you know project management well, right? It gives you a better credibility and, of course, better career opportunities. Third way is structured way of knowledge. Why I always say that the power of certification. Okay, the power of certification is not about you get a piece of paper with some numbers to that and all. The power of the certification means that you are gaining a all-round knowledge in a structured way. So let's say uh, you will be like learning throughout the journey of the PMP how to calculate cost, how to calculate schedule, okay, right, and then what is scope and how to calculate the different CPIs and SPIs to find the project is healthy or not healthy. In real world, you will be randomly like picking up things. You will be doing things like I have to get this job done, I have to meet that person, get this job done, and in that process, you will be learning few things here and there, but you will not be learning things in a structured way. So one fine day, maybe after 5 years of being a program manager, you will get to know that there is something called CPI, which you never knew. Maybe somebody told you, hey, go and find in your PM tool about CPI, and you found it and you said, I learned something new. So that is a moment of eureka for you. But PMP guys, it's very common and standard. I mean, PMP guys know that what is CPI, what is SPI. Not only they know it, they know how to calculate and they're a master at it. Because in the exam, like I said, when I come to the exam details, you really have to be a master in the concepts to ensure that your answers are correct. Because you get very short span of time to read a long question and immediately find out the answer. So structured way of gaining knowledge has got no replacement. Okay, it really like replaces the randomness of knowing knowledge or seeking out help from here and there or googling out some terms. It's something like let me tell you like this. After PMP, what? So people ask me, so after PMP, do we have got any certifications? Yes, we have got a PGMP, that is called Program Management Professional, and we also have got a PFMP, that is called a Portfolio Management Professional. Now, similarly, in the networking world, we have got a CCIE, right? But CCIE, the people are expected that they're extremely well in CCNA. If you're very good in CCNA, then only you will be climbing faster in CCNP, and you will be able to, grasp the knowledge in CCIE. Similarly, for PGMP, PFMP, you're expected that your PMP knowledge is very, very well. Like there is no written documentation from PMI which says that if you want to sit for a PGMP, you have to be a PMP certified. No, there is no rule like that. You can directly sit for the PGMP exam. However, uh, the expectancy is that the exam paper is so difficult that it expects that you know the PMP very, very well. And then it talks about the next stage. Okay, so structured way of gaining knowledge is something highly important. And the last one, PMP knowledge is independent of the industry you work in. So it might have given you some misconception or a myth that PMP is very much tied to IT industry, right? Because you have seen throughout people are doing sprint and stand-up calls, and people are talking about waterfall, scope, time, cost, risk. So you think that maybe IT industry you use the PMP. Not at all. Okay, PMP is independent of any place or area you work in. So let's pick up, let's say manufacturing, car manufacturing. Okay, there they work on the agile, like lean is mainly used for car manufacturing. I have worked in Boeing. In aerospace, they use lean. Then if you talk about medicine or health industry, there they use the PMP knowledge areas. If you talk about real estate or construction business, definitely they use the waterfall. Okay, because that's all scope is fixed. So let's say like today you book an apartment in Bangalore in 2023, and they will say, okay, give us the down payment money and you will get your flat keys in 2025 December, right? So definitely they have got a fixed day one launch, and they can backtrack and calculate the entire number of the manpower which they need, the schedule which they need, the things which can run in sequence, the things which can run in parallel. They can find the complete critical path as well, and they also have got the budget for that. Okay, so basically, industry across the PMP knowledge can be used. It's not definitely tied to only the IT industry. And that is the vast, huge amount of golden knowledge. All right, now let's take a look into the famous website of PMI, pmi.org. Let me quickly open my browser. I will say it's a very, very nice site because all the answers to your questions are there in the PMI site. So PMI is pmi.org. And let me open that quickly. So I'm not logged in right now. Your first work after the training before next week you join in will be to register in this website. Why? Because if you register, then and only then you will be having access to all the content in the site. Otherwise, you will be treated as a guest. And registration will not cost you a dime. Okay, so it's a free of cost. So let me log in and show you a couple of things. Let's go for okay, they've changed the logo now. So in back in 2014, the logo was slightly different, and now they have made it a little bit more jazzy. Okay, so once I go to this website, since I've logged in, I can click on my name and let me go to my certification. I can probably have a quick check how my certifications stand. They have got a beautiful dashboard and they show you which certs you have got. So just a quick go through on the website. So PMP tells me that I'm in good standing. And PDUs, I'm going to talk about that in detail afterwards. We are going to have a complete session on, how to fill up your application form and the eligibility. And there we'll talk about the PDUs. It's nothing but professional development units. So certification of PMP is not a lifelong thing. Once you get your PMP, for 3 cycles, the certificate stands valid. And after 3 years, you actually have to renew the certificate with PDUs. So this is how the certificate looks like. I can click on view certificate and this is how the certificate looks like. Okay. Uh, and on the bottom of the certificate, you will find the date when I got it, 28th of March 2014. And it tells I've got a validity till 28th of March 2026. So basically, I've got the PDUs filled up for the next 3 years. All right. Let's go further down. Let's see. It's showing up my other certifications. Let's say PGMP is being shown here, shows good standing. Then it shows PMI ACP. So basically all my, PMI like certs will be shown here. Now there is one cool way to check out if a person has got the certifications or not. And normally that link is used by the HRs. So let me log out from this site and I will show you quickly uh, what is that link. So that link should be, if I go to, I think registry, registry PMI. That should be the one. Yeah. If I go to this link, it's got no like connect with your logins. So even if you're not logged in, you just have to type in the name of the person you want to do a search or run a search, and let's say all credentials, and select the country and search, and you will see that in moments you will see my name is popping up and showing on the right hand side. I have got 3 certs which are active: SAP, PGMP, and PMP with all the month and the year. So that's how it is. So next time your friend tells you that he or she is a PMP and you've got a doubt, then you know that which side to go for and search, right? Okay. Now let me log in quickly and let's go to the site and go for the okay. Now this particular site, we have to spend some time on the site. Okay, like you guys, when you get some time, let's say 30-40 minutes, spend some time on this site. It's got plenty of information. Probably after looking into this site, you don't have to Google anything out or you don't have to ask anyone, because all the information which you need to know about PMI, PMP, everything is there, very well structured. So certification wise, you will see that they have got a certification overview, compare certifications, and they have got multiple certifications. So let's talk about the certifications a little bit. Okay. First of all, the PMP is right there. That's the flagship certification of PMI. Okay. It's something like, whenever we talk about smartphone or the first touch phone or the touch phone, the first benchmark phone that comes in our mind is iPhone, right? I mean, then we keep on comparing all these smartphones with iPhone, right? So basically something like that. The PMP is the flagship the certification of the product from PMI, and the remaining ones are there. They also hold a lot of value, but PMP holds the highest value, I will say, or the highest popularity, I would say. The second one, you will see the certified associate in project management, CAPM. Now this one is kind of rudimentary or basic. So for people who thinks that they are not yet ready for PMP because they don't have the adequate qualification, educational qualification, or the work experience, they can go for CAPM. But not for this audience. I believe that most of you who are hearing this out, you are established like project managers and program managers, and I think you should be taking your PMP directly and not going through CAPM. Okay, because CAPM is very, very basic. We also have got risk management professional, and let's have a quick check into all certifications. And these are the PMI certs, and you will see that compare the certs. The first one they're talking about, very first one on the top is the PMP, and then they have got CAPM, PMI PBA, which is the business analysis. And here you write, see the program management professional, which is something after PMP one should do. Then we have got the portfolio, which is something recommended after PGMP, and we have got risk and so on, right? So let me go back to the initial certification menu and let's go for PMP. Okay, now let's see what is there in PMP. Now, once you log into the site, it will clearly show me like my renewal date and all that, my certification active, all that stuff. Let's scroll down. I will not take you through all this text, but the important parts. So it tells you that to obtain the PMP, a project manager must meet certain requirements and then pass a 180 question exam. Now, PMP exam is of 4 hours without any break. I mean, you can take a break if you really like thirsty or you want to go to the washroom, you can take a break, but the clock will be ticking on your computer screen. Means that there is no system break. You can take a break asking the guard on the room or the invigilator, and you can come back. So whatever time you spend outside, that will be taken as your in time for the test. Okay. Now let's do a quick calculation. Why I say the exam is tough. You need to have a very good sense of time management in the exam. So 180 question. Sorry, I opened my notepad. I wanted to open my Calci. Uh, 180 exams and sorry, like questions, 4 hours, which means that you have got 45 questions per hour, right? Now, if I do like 60 by 45, you get 1 minute 33 seconds per question. That is, trust me, too less. And why it is too less? Because none of the questions in the PMP exam is a one-liner. None of them are a black and white question. All of them are use cases. They will give you a situation. You have to read through that. You have to understand what it is trying to say. And then they will give you 4 answers. So you have to select 1 out of 4. And out of the 4, the trick which PMI has done is that 2 of them will be very close, means that they would have changed only a little bit like wording from here to there, and those 2 statements will be very close. If you are really not an expert, you will not find the difference between the 2 lines. Okay, and 2 will be like kind of can be taken off, right? So if you think you will go through the concept just once and you think that okay fine, I will ace in the exam, you cannot do that, because if you really want to read a use case quickly and you want to catch the key words in the question, like there are some keywords in every question, the keywords, your eyes will be used to the keywords the more you practice. So the way to study PMP is that apart from going through trainer based like learning, I encourage all of you to pick up some dummy project. Okay, and then treat that project as a complete PMP project. So starting right from the starting of the business requirements and then going through the project charter, then planning the project, and then going through the entire planning, like building the schedule, cost, budget, everything, and finally going to the execution part and monitoring control and closing with the lessons learned. This entire thing has to be done as per the PMBOK or the PM book of knowledge. Okay, so when you do that couple of times, then only that knowledge will be getting into your mind very nicely. Because when it comes to planning, let's say, okay, planning has got a huge amount of processes, like 25 plus, which are all in a sequence. So the use cases which you read, you have to know that what comes first. Like, do I calculate the cost first or do I calculate the schedule first? And you cannot take those decisions by simple logic. Okay, you have to know the PMP concepts very well, then and only then your mind will start working. And the other trick which PMP does is that they know that what mistakes you can do. So let's say that the formula, they are giving a mathematical question like calculate the CPI. They're showing you a graph and telling like calculate the CPI for this project, and then you calculate the CPI. So let's say the CPI, the formula was like, x by y, and in the exam you did that y by x, which means you inverted it. You were not very sure because there are at least 14 15 formulas, and if you practice only once, then you will not like recall them. So what PMI does the trick, they give you the right answer and the wrong answer as well. What they do, let's say the correct answer is 1 by 2, which is zero point 0.5. So zero point 0.5 is one of the options. And let's say you inverted the formula and made it 2 by 1. So the answer will be 2. That 2 also will be a part of the answer. So basically, these kind of tricks are there because PMI knows very well that if you do not practice well, you will not use the correct formula for the correct situation. Okay, and then you will say, I think the answer is 2 and I can see 2 right there. So that's the right answer. But that's a trick. The correct answer was zero point 0.5. So these kinds of things are there. So one of the main reason, and I will again spend some time in the later session that why I failed, because that's a lessons learned, right? And there is no harm in failing. That's okay. It's a very high bar exam. I'm glad I failed because I worked very hard to get to PMP, and then I became a mentor in the coming years. But what I'm trying to say, the reason why I failed was lack of time management. I was like all along thinking that I really had to be very sure on my correct answers. So I checked them once, twice, thrice, double checked the answers, and I lost all the time. In my last 1 hour, I was having 70 questions and I couldn't complete all of them. That is also one of the main reason many people fail in PMP. Even somebody has claimed that if PMP exam was of 6 hours, we all could have passed. So that's the kind of the strategy that you have to play. So we will talk about it in detail. That what is the run rate you have to establish with yourself? Like every hour, how much you want to see to be done, and done means done. And what are you supposed to do with very difficult questions? Because after every 7 8 questions, one will be very difficult, and PMI wants you to spend some time and lose some time there. Okay, so we'll talk about that in detail in the exam strategy. It's a fun exam, trust me. Okay, the certification will recognize your knowledge in these 3 areas, which is people, process, and business. Now, if anybody has got an MBA background, they will know that MBA, they focus very much on 3 things in a business. They call it PPT, right? So people, process, and tools. And they say that if you have got the correct people with the correct process and the correct tools in a business, then nobody can stop your business, right? So similarly, PMP also focuses a lot on people, process, and the business. And people, they're telling that recognizing you have the skills to effectively lead and motivate a project. And here comes the question. People say, hey, I'm not a people manager. So why my people management strengths are checked? So yes, a PMP certified or a project manager is not a functional manager, right? But in a matrix company, you definitely will be leading and driving a project. And virtually at that point of time, many resources will be reporting to you. Again, you will not be their functional manager. They will not be your direct like reportees, but definitely you have to lead and drive a big team. And that's when your people management skills are coming into picture. Okay, so that's why we say that a PM is a leadership role in a company, because the very next step after a PM is basically a people manager, because you already have learned a lot about how to manage people, how to reduce conflicts between teams, and so on and so forth as a people manager being a PM. I mean, you have worn that hat for some time. Process, of course, agile or hybrid. So basically, as a PM, you should be knowing that which process shall I use for my project. Shall I use the waterfall, or shall I use the agile? Or the most common these days is hybrid, where you combine a little bit of waterfall and a little bit of agile. Okay, so that should be known by you, that which can be used at what situation. Okay, agile is mainly used by the startups for apps, but nowadays they are used predominantly by many product teams, right? Because they do not want to keep a fixed roadmap for themselves. They want to keep a agile roadmap. They pick up the feature list, they work on that, and after like 4 sprints, they deliver the result. And again, they reprioritize the product backlog, and again they build the new feature list as per the competitors or as per the demand in the market. So that's what the concept of agile is. Again, we are going to talk about agile in a detailed way. Business environment is something where you're highlighting the success of a project and basically its overall impact on the strategy part of the work. So all these are three areas, and there is a kind of a book from PMI which I will download and show you right now. That book shows also the kind of the marks or the percentage of marks which are allotted for each of these sections. Now, what can the PMP certification do for you? I will ask you to go through all this, why the PMP, how to apply, and exam prep. Again, we are going to talk about in detail. Like I said, I will set up 1 or 2 sessions only for application process. Trust me, it's a tricky one. An application process I will do after 6th or 7th session, because in order to fill up the application of PMP, you need to know certain keywords and certain concepts of project management, because you have to write the application in a way in which PMI would like you to write, right? So PMI expects that you would be writing the application as a project manager. Okay, your role doesn't matter in the company. So here also one more thing, irrespective of you are a project manager or a developer or a quality or a tester, it doesn't matter. If you are plugged into a live project and you have contributed in a live project, which you can document, which you can show, which somebody can vouch for you, like somebody in the sense your team lead or your manager, then definitely then you can write for that project. So we'll come to that in details, okay, later on. Let's come to the other part. The first line, it's golden. It's talking about, am I eligible? Look at the first line. Earning your PMP certification is a commitment, and that's why it is valuable. It's a golden statement. Because when you are sitting for a PMP exam, like when you enroll for a sit in the PMP exam, then you are committed to a journey, and you have to really spend, hours beyond your work schedule and your personal life in a very disciplined like regimen to ensure that you crack the exam, right? So that commitment itself is so demanding that that will ingrain all the knowledge strength in you, and that's why it's so valuable, right? Okay, there are two parts in which the requirement is being called out. So a candidate can be having a 4-year degree, and for a candidate who is having a 4-year degree, he can sit for the exam if he or she is having 36 months of experience leading projects. So 3 years. Now, these 3 years, they don't have to be a project manager or a program manager by designation. Okay, you can be anybody in any designation, but if you have led certain component of the project, you don't have to be a tech lead also, but if you have led certain component of the project in some way, and which you can document and somebody can vouch for it, like your manager or supervisor, then definitely you can show that. And if you are not having a 4-year degree, you're having a high school diploma, then you need to show 60 months of experience, which is 5 years. And there again, it doesn't matter like what role you like, what designation you played in the project, but definitely your role will matter. And these two are having one common things, 35 hours of project management training, which is right there. So 35 hours of project management training, which means that 35 hours of PDU. A PDU stands for Professional Development Unit, PDU. One PDU is equal to 1 hour. So if I say 35 PDUs you need for the exam, it means that you need 35 hours of training for this exam. Now, who is going to provide this training? One is through a REP, like a registered education partner. Let's say Udemy or Simply Learn, they can provide the training to you. But trust me, those trainings, again, with all due respect to all the trainers, I have seen multiple, or I have gone through multiple online trainings through Udemy in the recent past as well. And I have seen the element of the super deep dive is not there. So they will give you the 35 PDUs, definitely. You will know the high level, the basics also, but you may not be fully prepped for the exam. For that, you have to put your, your hours to prepare for the exam. The other way is that the training you are going through right now, that also can be shown as a 35 PDU hours, because this entire training will go to 40-45 hours of training that can easily be shown like 35 hours of PDU. And later on, we will discuss in our learning sessions that how to capture this training and how to show that in the application form. Okay. And so in that way, you don't really have to spend any money for any other external training. Now, costing piece, PMI has got two branches. One they call a member and one they call the cost for the non-member. So let's say you register in the site and you directly go and apply for the exam. You cannot you can't like really pay the money upfront. Well, so what will happen is that you will start your application process, and you have to fill up all the details in the application. It will take at least 2 weeks of time. It's a very detailed one. Then you submit that. Once you submit, then PMI will take 7 working days to audit your application. Auditing means it will check through your work experience. If it's got any doubt on anything, it will reach out to the people who you have placed as contact on the application. So we be 100% truthful on the application. Don't try to hide anything, or don't try to mislead or give any misinformation there that will lead to the rejection of the application. And if the application is rejected, that means that you have to wait for complete 1 year to again reapply for the exam. So your 12 months is wasted. So let's not take that path at all. And audit these days happen left, right, and center. I have seen the new people, the moment you submit, the next day you get a mail that your application is up for audit. So be careful on that. So if it passes, okay, if your application passes through, then only PMI drops you a mail that congratulations, your application has been approved by our panel, and now they are sending you a separate link of Prometric. That click on this link to pay for the exam and book a seat. Okay, so that point of time, if you are a member, you will be charged less, 21,000 in Indian currency, and non-member 30,000 in INR. So let's see the difference here. Okay, then we will do some talks about the membership. So INR to USD, let me pull it up. So 21,000, let's say, as a member. So as a member, I'm going to spend $256, right? And 30,000 is $366. So almost like $100 you will save. So if you are a member, then you are going to save almost $100 when you apply for the exam. Okay, but in order to get the membership, so membership is right here, okay? And I will recommend very strongly to you guys to go and go to this option like become a member. And for that, you have to pay close to $100. Now the question is that if I'm paying for the membership $100, uh, then what is the point of saving that money in the exam cost? Because any which ways, if I don't pay that, I can use that money for the fees as a non-member. Your point is correct, but there is more to that. So PMI, once you get your exam forms and everything done, and once you get the clarification that you can apply for the exam from PMI gives you 3 attempts in 1 year. Okay, so based on your application, if it goes through the submission or approval, then from that date you get 1 year of time to sit 3 times for the exam. Now, why 3 times has been given? Because PMI very well knows the exam will be given by professional people who are very busy in the professional life and personal life maybe, and that's why it's a very high bar exam. They may not make it the first time, and trust me, out of 10, at least 7 or 8 people do not make the exam the first time. Sorry to share this. Okay, I think you're like cursing me now, right? But the good news is that if you do not make the exam the first time and you sit for the second time, okay, then if you are a member, you have to pay half the fees. But if you are a non-member, for second time also you have to pay the complete fees as the first time. Now let's say for second time also, sometimes people fall ill or sick or something happens, they couldn't go for the exam that particular date, some unfortunate thing happens and they couldn't sit for the second time. Okay, or let's say they sat for the exam but they couldn't make it, the exam bar was very high, then they can sit for the third time also with a half fee if you are a member. But if you're a non-member and if you want to sit for the third time, then you have to again pay the complete fee. So I know many people who have sat for the exam third time. That's a very common thing in PMI, because like I said, the people who I know who are giving the exams, they are like very busy in their professional life. They don't have time to really, study a lot. They get probably last 1 month kind of compressed way of study, and that's not a good approach, I know. But yeah, they cannot make it for the exam, and some of them they couldn't like make it for the first, second, and third time, 3 times. So what happens to them? They again have to fill up the application form next year and again start it afresh. Okay. So those are the key things which happens when you become a member. The other benefit of being a member is that once you become a member, you become automatically attached to PMI chapters. Now what are chapters? Every major city around the globe, let's say Bangalore, has got a community of PMP, certified folks, and the community will be having the people from, let's say, top companies, let's say the senior people, the senior program managers, or let's say the VPs, and so on, and you will be getting a chance to network with them. They do a symposium or a kind of a gathering once in 2 months, and they invite you, and you go there and you kind of meet up with a lot of people. I have been a part of the Bangalore chapter for a couple of years, I think till 2020. So that's one way to build a network. And the last part is that PMI has got an official PMP book. That book is called PMBOK, or what we say, the Project Management Book of Knowledge. So that book can be downloaded free of cost from the PMI site. So these are the benefits as a member. As a non-member, you do not get any of these benefits. Okay. So that's kind of about the overview about members and non-members, and these are the things which are going to take up in the next session. Let's talk about a little bit about exam content outline and certification handbook. These are pretty nice stuff. Go ahead and download them. They don't have any charges. So if I click on exam content outline, this basically gives you the exam blueprint of PMI, or sorry, PMP. So PMP exam blueprint, you will be seeing, they will be having this people, process, and the business, these three domains. And you can actually see that they have given the entire domain in this particular factor, like 42% for people, 50% for process, and 8% for business. So maximum from the process it's coming up, right? And they have double clicked on the people, and they have actually told what people mean. So people is managing conflict is one topic, leading a team is one topic, and so on. So there are multiple tasks which we'll do one by one. And then similarly, if you go through the process, there they have spoken about execution of the project and monitoring, controlling, managing communications, engagement with stakeholders, planning and monitoring the budget, and so on. Okay. And finally, when you go into the org part or the business part, that's more about the project compliance piece, the benefits of the project, org change, how to support it, and so on. So these are the complete project management or the PMP like syllabus in the blueprint. And if you go for the other one, that is a certification handbook, there you will see how to fill up the application form. So you will see good stuff there which we are going to deep dive in our upcoming sessions. Like I said, after 6 sessions of course, we are going to take a pause, take remaining two of them, like 7 or 8 or 8 of the sessions, to go through the way to fill up the application form, and then we will talk about the audit process. So audit is very serious thing. Remember that, do not give any inaccurate or misinformation in the application form. Chances are very high that your application will be audited, and when it gets picked up, then PMI is very strict for that. They reach out to the people, your managers, and everybody, to check if the information which you provided is correct or not. And if they found it is not correct, they will reject your application. And if it gets like rejected, that means that again for 1 year you cannot sit for the exam. So for people who are thinking, I do not meet the eligibility criteria, then what shall I do? I will always say them that wait for the time till you meet the eligibility criteria, and then and only then apply for the exam. Okay, because there is no point in giving out some information which you have not done. Okay, so that's kind of the detail of these two handbooks. Just go through them at your spare time. um, and that's more or less about the quick go through of the PMI website. Okay, let's go back into our presentation and let's see what else is pending there. So let's talk about the recommended books. Oh yes, my favorite topic. Now I always say to my guys that always have a hard copy as a reference book, like book with you. Okay, a hard copy in the sense, I know that you will be having online trainings and videos and YouTube and whatnot, right? But nothing can match the importance of a hard copy book, especially the people like me who love to read in the old school way, like pick up a highlighter and then tick on the lines. make some notes and comments next to the paragraphs, and make some bullet points. These are really, really must have skills when you're going for the PMP exam, because PMP exam is not just one more exam to give, right? It demands a lot of hard work from your end. It demands a lot of deep dive from your end. And it also demands a lot of practice from your end. Okay, so the more you practice, so my favorite one is of course Rita Mulcahy. Now that book I have used as a first hand, and that's why I always say to my guys, in fact my wife used it, and she passed the PMP exam last year. She went through a preparation of like 6+ months, and she passed it last year. So what I'm trying to say is that there are many other good books, like Andrew has got one, we have got Head First PMP, there are many other books, but I cannot really comment about other books since I have not used them. I have used only PMP Exam Prep by Rita. Unfortunately, Rita as an author and as a PMP trainer, she has expired on in the year 2010. However, her book is kind of the de facto standard. So if you go and ask any PMP aspirant, they will be having a copy of Rita with them. The book is fantastic, very easy to read, very comprehensible with real life examples, and every chapter on the back end has got a question set which you can practice a little bit, and you can gain more confidence on the subject. Apart from that, she has got good memory maps and all that. So basically the book is really fantastic, but you need to spend some time on the book. It's a big fat book, by the way, right? The other one is Pimbok Guide. Pimbok Guide is the official guide as per PMI. You can buy it online, or you can be a member of PMI and you can download it free of cost. I personally do not recommend much of that book to be used as an exam prep book. The reason is that the book is very dry in language. Dry in the sense that it's not having too much of real life examples. It's not having too much of question answers. It's kind of a like a legal kind of book, very dryly written book. You might not be able to relate that book with the real world. Okay, but you can definitely have a copy of this if you want to have a reference on the latest exam blueprint, because the PMBOK guide is exactly as per the latest exam blueprint with all the changes being pointed out there. And PMP exam prep is also the latest one. They keep on like publishing one every year. So again, the choice is yours. You can definitely go for a Kindle version. You can go for an online version or whatever you want to. But I always suggest strongly that keep a hard copy with you. And the reason I why say a hard copy is that not only it helps you to do exam prep, but once you become a PMP, and you are not going to be exposed into all the knowledge areas of PMP in one project, right? Let's say that nowadays you are not getting into the procurement much. Now, procurement is one of the solid knowledge areas in PMP. Let's say after 8 months, 10 months, you get into a project where procurement is one of the key areas. You might want to go back to your hard copy book and have a quick check what PMP tells you or talks about the procurement, right? So that point of time, the hard copy book will be really, really good to have. All right, next steps. These are tasks for you. Have a quick check mark on them prior to we join our next session. One is register in pmi.org. Definitely do it. It's free of cost. Be a member. I always say that be a member because it will give you the benefits and give you a safety net in case you do not pass your PMP exam the first time. In terms of money, I'm trying to say. Get hold of a hard copy book. I always say that to all my guys. And the last one, which is the most important one, is that fix the date for exam. Okay. The moment you think that, okay, you are going to give PMP, don't wait for that day when the stars and the moon will align and you will get a special day and, you are going to sit for the exam. Because see, to be very practical and honest, nothing is going to change much. I mean, your professional life will be busy always, and your personal life will be busy always as it is, or will be. So there is a concept which I learned in my old days in college, which is called thermodynamics. The concept is called entropy. So entropy means the order of disorder, and thermodynamics says that entropy will always increase. So if you keep some stuff on your table, let's say some books and a glass of water and a couple of stuff on your table, and after a few days you will see that somebody would have touched the table and things would be disoriented. So entropy always increases. Okay, so disorder will always increase. Okay, so nothing will change. That special time will not come when you are going to have like 2+ months free in front of you and you're like studying like a real geek. That will not come. What you have to do is that in between this time, this busy days, you have to find out some time for yourself, and that time is not for anybody else, for yourself and for the benefit of yourself. And that time, like when I did my PMP, that point of time I was in Cisco TAC in Cisco in 2014, and I was spending 2 hours a day in my working days. And in my weekends, I used to spend 6 hours. In the last month, I spent at least 10 hours in the weekend because I really wanted to crack the exam in the very first go, which unfortunately did not happen because of my lack of time management. But second time, I worked harder. I think I was working 10+ hours in every weekend for 3 4 months continuously, and finally gave the exam and cracked it. And that's the time you say, okay, I've done it. And try to make the exam happen in the first shot. Trust me, the second time when you give, uh, you will feel the pressure actually. So don't try to get into that spot. The other thing which I always tell my guys is that what date which you have to choose, that nobody can tell you. That's your decision. You are the master of that. Don't keep something very near that will jeopardize the entire concept of passing, because you need time to absorb and incrementally increase your knowledge. It's not a one night kind of study. And don't keep the exam date too far, because that will make things slow. Your motivation will go away, your momentum will go away. Okay, so keep it something like optimum. A time of 5+ months or 6 months is very, very good to plan and sit for the PMP exam. And it's all right if you cannot pass the first time. Okay, it's okay. There are many people who fail, but take the first attempt with all the vigor. Make it a chance that you will pass it the first time. If you pass it, great. If not, then give it the second time. Don't break your heart. Uh, the other point which I wanted to talk about is that do not share your exam date with people. I mean, with your friends, family, and everybody. Hey, like I'm going to PMP exam tomorrow morning. The point is that exam is a tough one, very tough one. Chances are very high that a person may not pass the first time. Okay, and if you cannot make it, God forbid, and if you come out and you have to face the same people, they will tell you, I'm sorry to hear this, it's unfortunate and all that. Trust me, you will not like to be in that spot. Okay. So instead of that, you don't have to reveal that date to anyone. You just keep quiet. If you pass the exam, great, you tell it to all. If you don't pass, you keep quiet, be silent, and prepare for the next time. Okay. So that's how it goes. All right. Wrapping up quickly what we've discussed so far. So PMI, as we told you, is a US-based non-profit professional org, and PMP is the flagship certification from PMI. The PMP exam will include at least 36 to 60 months, as we saw, that experience in your work life, plus 35 hours of PMP training. And again, the certification will last for 3 years. And during that time, you will be getting a notification that you have to submit PDUs, like additional training or seminars or something, which will ensure that your certification is like renewed. Okay, with that, we came to the end of the session. Any questions? Okay, I see one in the chat window. That's about the membership. The membership which you are going to pay to PMI, that will only last for 1 year. So if you ask me, I think it's great to have the membership for the first year, because that's the year if you're planning to sit for the exam. But once you pass the exam, I personally think that you may not need the membership year on year. But if you are very keen to be a part of PMI chapters and all that, then yes, go for it. Or else once you pass the PMP exam, you do not need the membership as such. All right. So with that, we came to the end of the session. I wish you all a great day and a great time, and I hope you enjoyed this session. Looking forward to be with you in the future sessions. Thank you. Have a nice time. Cheers. Bye-bye.